coordination. When it comes to like a panic moment, they do start going in one at a time in 1v2 or 2v3 situations, and you can't really do that. Okay, fair enough, there's much time left, you do have to, like, you know, get straight in and not matter what the situation is. But, you know, this is your last chance, and any tiny errors such as that will cause you a loss to go to QuakeCon.
The next question I have to ask when we look at all 8 of these players, is there any individual champion that we absolutely are going to see? Is there any specific one that somebody is tailored to and is like a complete boss masterclass at that specific champion?
Well, I could probably say, and you'll probably say the same actually, because we've seen Anarchy in almost every single match. And I think even the last game as well, we saw Anarchy and Slash from both teams.
Yeah, no, Anarchy is that's the core of the team really, because the movement just works so well with the mode if you're going to be running that Soul. Slash can be map dependent, but fortunately for the Slash pickers out there, most of the maps are very good for him. So maybe you see a bit less of him on burial chambers or something along those lines. But generally, it works across all maps. Sorlak has also been a very popular pick so far. You expect Nyx as well with those Ghost Walk attacks on the power-ups and on the Soul.
And the picks you were speaking about at Zoot have just come in. So, Ruins of Sarnath will be picked from the Defendants. How do we think about that one?
That doesn't surprise me too much because of the fact that their Anarchy and their Slash is really good on this map. But the one thing I do want to point out is DM6 is the fact that with Aliance, when they had B-side and had that huge disadvantage, they still beat Maestro 2-0. I brought this up before and I will bring it again. It is difficult, and since Alliance have chosen that map, they probably realise how good they are at it, and I don't think to them, doesn't matter what side they have, they'll just feel like they'll just win anyway, which does not surprise me.
Alliance will then roll into Blood Covenant. If we need a final map, and anything's possible here, the European Regionals, it will end on Logbox. But I want to just track back for a second. You mentioned that the Anarchy is the standard pick. Which players do we need to be watching out for those Anarchy picks? Which
Syndrome on Alliance.
Okay.
Definitely, he's going to be the pick there. I believe we're going to be seeing Chrysa, who'll be using it on the Defendants. But Syndrome, he's been absolutely delivering this tournament so far with Anarchy, and I expect to see some, again, really strong things from him.
That's the thing with Chrysa as well. We haven't really heard too much about him. Like, we know he's definitely the best player in Czech Republic, no doubt. But, you know, we haven't seen much of him, but, like, from what I've seen today, he's really impressed me, and he's one of those breakout players who really will do well. And if he does win, go to QuakeCon, I'm hoping he does make a name for himself.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting move. We'll be getting this game underway very, very shortly. Honestly, with how much, I think the next thing I mean, these guys have been playing for God knows how long now. I mean, Quake's been out for so many years. We keep touching base and we keep mentioning it because that really is the story of Quake. It's a legendary game with legendary players. But I do still have to ask the question. Even when you've been playing for so long, even when you've been to so many lands, even when you've been to QuakeCon, does the pressure of not going still apply here to these players?
Yeah, absolutely. They almost think it's a given. QuakeCon traditionally has been, you can almost apply to it. And if you're a top player, then you don't have to qualify generally. You're just able to go, and then you're going to battle it out while you're out there in a larger player bracket of some sort. However, on this occasion, with these qualifiers in play, and you know there's no prize money right now, you're not part of that big scale event. To get there and to prove that you deserve a spot there is something that's unfamiliar territory for them, and there's definitely egos at stake when it comes to this.
I think that's the main thing is where you're talking about is the fact that this is the biggest prize pool we've had for Quake ever, and literally I'm not surprised where a lot of these tier 1 players are getting really pressured and worried if they don't make it to QuakeCon or not.
Well, let's find out. I believe we've got Kaplan and ZSX standing by. Gentlemen, take it away.
I swear in my contract I had somewhere that said I'm not allowed to cast with someone who's more muscular than I am, and yet they pair me here with you, ZSX.
Yeah. Who are you? I don't know. I think we've
I'm the son of a developer of another game, but now that's another hero there. But I'm glad finally you did realize that you were no longer relevant playing Quake, that you decided to actually come to casting, because you definitely would never have qualified.
Well, wow.
I was deciding if I should say that or not. But I'm glad I did, because you have nothing to come back with. Score 1 for Jason. Anyways, yes, this game, it's going to be Defendants up against Alliance.
Don't worry, I'm going to hurt you later. You do know that.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay, cool.
That's back at the hotel, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be a crazy game, actually. Initially, I thought this was going to be like an easy 3-mapper, but you're leaning more towards one side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance are obviously a very gifted team, but from what I saw in Defendants against Not Too Fast earlier, they were extremely competent and extremely calm against such an organized team. And Alliance just didn't display that to me in their matches. It was quite chaotic, quite disorganized, and I know they've been going with the VODs, etc. But whether you can fix that and really come up against the power that Defendants have in their natural team skill, I'm not too sure. So I'm definitely going to lean towards Big James on the Defendants and say, homeless man, we need to give you some money.
Big homeless James.
Big homeless James, yeah.
No, yeah, so if we were to compare and look at both teams, you know, Alliance, is there a man that sticks out to you? For me, it's personally Syndrome. He had a really solid game.
I think everyone looking at that lineup would say strengths. But again, put him in a team situation, yeah, he's got the raw skill, but someone like Syndrome just gels so well. He's in the right places at the right time. He's making the right moves. And this is the reason why Alliance bought him out. He was actually originally at Maestro.
Right.
And Alliance said, we need a player of this caliber. We need what he can do. So that skill was recognized, and he is the linchpin.
And then also looking at, you know, consistency, I feel like in a game of Quake, you can have a hot streak, you can have a cold streak. And obviously you want to have that hot streak as much as possible. But Bus Driver, the guy who has an FPS background from every FPS game, it seems, he was so consistent in their first match that we saw today that I feel like he's like the backbone for the team now. If he can keep constantly fragging like this, it's a good thing to have on your team.
Yeah, they have to play well. Spotting his strengths again are Legends, but they're not the ones carrying this team.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Kicking off our loser bracket game. It's Alliance up against the Defendants. And at the moment, loser of this match will be out entirely. It looks like Alliance will be on the blue side here. Defendants on the red. Initially, the nail gun coming out of strengths here. Playing the Nyx, most importantly. He's doing some serious work as he gets the trade kill against Deus.
And with this spawn coming up for the Soul, we're going to see how they're setting up, because for the majority of time, people want to get on that B obelisk. It's a little bit easier to defend, and that's exactly where Alliance want to take it.
Tuga gets a kill to Bus Driver, but you did see his acid spit, right? He did completely block off the entire way to get in towards that Soul, so really well done by him. But it looks like Sparty might be taking it towards A. It's a great shot onto Avic to open things up. His teammate will fall, but they have the obelisk, they have the Soul there, and for the most part, Sparty hasn't been dealt with here. It's fine that he will fall.
And as you said, right, the Sorlax's ability right there is a great way to zone out any kind of priority area you want to be, and it's something not a lot of players are using. It is very effective though.
Syndrome, he's going to be playing yet again the Anarchy. Chrysler will take him down initially, and not to mention Too Good, he's supporting from the back. This is something that I believe Sims and Lethal and I were talking about in the green room, is that Too Good doesn't, actually no, you were there as well, Too Good doesn't like to be the player necessarily that's up front in the front lines. He likes to sit back and support his team from range.
Yeah, he likes to take jabs at people, and he does it from range. He never gets up in their face in conflict. But it works so well against around their style, because they have 3 other players that are more than happy to do the dirty work, do the hard work, and Too Good is really just in the back cleaning up, and he's just having some exceptional hit scan.
Well, so far, though, Alliance have held this obelisk for the entire time. 35% now built up and counting, and Defendants have been unable to put up a good defense. Though, with 2 frags happening, finally the third, it looks like they've finally been able to break some ground and finally take this Soul away. It's going to be in the hands of Krysa. He's going to be looking to obviously get back towards his own obelisk, but one of his avenues for, you know, getting back for retreat has already been taken. You're going to see that's going to be another man waiting there. Syndrome going to be the man to try to contest out on this one, maybe pick up this kill. Gauntlet's even going to come out, but either way, Syndrome will secure that one. That should be point turning.
Yeah, really great play. Unfortunately, the Defenders could not get set up in time. It might have been wiser for Chris to slow down a bit and just wait for his team to get there, but the most important thing was to get it back to the base.
Great little shot there to Sparty. Does take down 2 kills, does get the Soul back and put it back in the obelisk they have chosen. So far, I mean, you were saying the Defendants, like, this should be a relatively easy 2-0, but Alliance honestly putting up a fantastic start at least.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a given by any means, because Alliance were very unlucky to be in this situation in the first place. They could have quite easily beaten Maestro, and they do have natural skill, so they must have looked at their VODs again, analysed it, and fixed some of the problems for this first map anyway.
Well, Strengths is used to be in the lower bracket just from yesterday alone, where he did get knocked down. I think it was actually against Avic, so a little bit of a rematch here for those two. And so far, it looks like Defense having a couple of initial frags. It seems like they can get the kills, yes, but they just can't get that like final moment. It seems like the attack on the actual obelisk gets a little bit sloppy, even with the picks they get prior to the push, and they just can't seem to steal that Soul away cleanly.
And it is also credit to Alliance, who are playing with more organization. The way Maestro played early with the clutch, I think definitely threw them off, and that's why we might have seen a bit more disorganization coming out, because now once they're set, they actually have more solid positions, and we see clean defenses coming out.
That's a great jump, but Too Good with a fantastic shot as well. Actually, sorry, Strength's able to hit that shot with the rail. He's able to secure the kill and also turn the Soul around. They don't let any extra percent go. 69 built up for them. The Gauntlet's going to be coming out. Avic picks himself up a triple kill. And Krista is able to escape here to finally give the Defendants some extra percent, but
They need to get that quickly. 69% already, only in 3 minutes 30. It looks pretty dire.
actually an easy kill for Krista. And does secure that one with the nail gun yet again. 3 minutes and 50 seconds in, and Defendants have finally built up some momentum. They've finally been able to get the Obelisk. They have finally gotten set up in a way that they can control it, but the power-up, that's where things are going to potentially turn here.
Yeah, and this is a big power-up coming up. We wanted to see a protection, but the quad comes out.
Yeah, Too Good gets the telefrag on Sparty. Sparty gets the telefrag on Too Good. All right, there's a little bit of different, but they still get the kills nonetheless, showing that they're being really aggressive around this power-up. Quad gonna be in the hands of Bus Driver, who is a major fragger for the team. Not very often we see him on this. Usually Strengths is the one to pick up these power-ups.
At the end of the day, when it is just chaos, you just take it and run. Doesn't matter who gets it.
Plus there's a lot more pressure on you if you do get the quad, and then the protection to perform. You also need on the right targets at the same time. So I guess it's that call you have to make in the heat of the situation.
Great communication coming out there. We see a double back by Syndrome because he gets the call that it's not safe on point. Doesn't matter because they knew exactly where he was and they were able to push in, but
not safe
still.
there either, it seems.
No, nowhere safe.
You can run, but you can't hide. And that's going to be another kill coming through as Avic's able to chase him down yet again. Avic really coming up big, I think. He's definitely a big fragger for the team so far. Yeah, proving he's already qualified for duel, I believe.
He's one of these just multi-talented players that, again, whatever he puts his mind to, he does so well, and he's a monster when it comes to team games.
Well, again, he's able to secure another one. As you can see in the kill feed, even a second on top of that. Alliance have been able to take the soul, but finally Defendants are coming alive. They've been able to turn this one around. They didn't give up. They gave up, what, 8% there?
Yeah. This is more like the defenses I expected to see when I said, oh, what a throw through the gap.
Throw into the Obelisk will be good, but not good enough. Bus Driver picks himself up a double with the Acid Spit, and Strengths is able to get, well, at least the soul towards the direction he wants to go. He does hand it off, I believe, over to Syndrome. Is able to secure this one and run it back. Again, this is something I was saying before with Zoot. Syndrome has some of the sickest movement I've seen on Anarchy when it comes to this mode in particular.
Yeah, as I mentioned, he's almost exclusively an Anarchy player. Well, he is in this mode, and just does a great job on it.
You know, a lot of fighting breaking out on the point. Looks like kills have majority of the side gone over to Strengths and Co. Power up in 1 second. You can see they're a little bit late to get to this one, but that's going to be potential telefrag coming through out of Nyx. It's not going to land though, and it's a protection on the Strengths again. This is the man that usually gets the power for the team.
Yep.
And on this Nyx, he does have that Ghost Walk to use, but he also has a soul in hand, so he can't use it just yet.
And it's a battle. It's a protection, which means this could be the defining defense because it's so difficult to bring it down, even with just a machine gun.
Even a machine gun, a rail gun, a lightning gun.
Doesn't matter.
And Tigers, oh my. Not able to secure that at all. But they have 90%. This is where things are getting really risky for Defendants. They have that many attacks left, and even going in here, that solo man's not going to be good.
Exactly as you say, this is the desperation push. It doesn't matter who's alive, you just got to get on that point to really prevent it from getting taken.
Daisy on the BJ too, trying to pull up that dual wield, but Sparty does catch, throw, gets the interception on, gets the Obelisk, or the Soul Planet back in the Obelisk. We need to see the contestation coming in. Finally, someone's going to be there, but you have Bus Driver alive, and Bus Driver can do some serious work. Syndrome is able to kill on the Avic, and I don't think there's anyone else left to come. And that's going to do it. Alliance do pick up the first round here over into Sarnath.
I'm impressed. Like, I didn't say they were a bad team, but I did not expect that level of coordination coming out from Alliance.
Yeah, and if you were to kind of point out a player, maybe on both teams, that was really performing well, can you kind of single any of them out, or do you think it was just overall well-done team effort from
I think
Alliance?
we saw Bus Driver make a few huge plays, particularly in the kill feed, just coming up time and time again, using the abilities at the right time, and obviously Syndrome with the parries. Defendants just need to just click a little bit more.
Click a little bit more.
Click a little bit more.
Wise words.
Thank you.
it's true. They definitely need to get a little bit more damage in. Seeming something to be that they're lacking, and not to mention controller on the map. They just, I don't know, I'm trying to think about how the engagements are going for them, right? Are they getting like the 2-on-1s? Are they getting the man advantage when it comes to forcing these fights? And it feels like Alliance haven't been allowing that. The communication really seems to be there, as you pointed out before.
Yeah, once you get set on a map and defend well, it's very difficult to break that, and Defendants let that happen in the early stages, and it's good that they haven't done it so this time.
Alliance has been able to get the A Obelisk yet again here, force the Defendants over towards B. But again, you mentioned before, right? Isn't B the Obelisk that generally a team would want to take?
The teams I have spoken to about playing this map prefer B, and again, it's very dependent on the way they like to set up, so it's just that Alliance prefer A, it would seem.
Alliance is also running not an insta-kill comp, but they're running 2 champions who can pull off an insta-kill. And then they have Bus Driver with the assist that just block off a lot of directions they can come through. And this is the man we were talking about before, doing some serious work. He gets another kill onto Avic. He's going to defend. Funny enough, he's the defendant here on the A obelisk.
What we've seen Bus Driver do in previous games is that he normally goes on the upper level and he times the Mega very well, and then he gets this insanely high stack and is able to pressure anyone pushing in from the high level.
Look at this, pushing back in with the help of the acid spit. Does connect at least one of those hits. Do some decent damage. They do get, again, they get the soul. They throw it away, but it seems like there's not a guy there waiting to receive it, to run it across the map quickly. It seems like there has been some miscommunication, or maybe Alliance is flanking. Maybe they're queuing that person who's supposed to be retrieving the soul when it's thrown to them.
It would seem it's definitely the latter, because there's always a strengths up there usually, just harassing either Krisa or Too Good, who's waiting to receive that.
Again, another great rail comes through. Protection, again, for strength, looking to push this advantage. They do have the soul.
Another sign of just slight miscommunication, disorganization, because there was virtually nobody there from the Defendants.
There's a little health orb as well. They pay dividends when you do have that protection. It's actually like worth 4 times the value, if I'm not mistaken, because of that. Yeah, man.
Look at this lightning and basically doing no damage from theirs.
Anyway, 35% now. Defendants looking a little bit better so far here, but again, you have to kind of wonder how are they going to change this up. Like, obviously, you know, being a pro player yourself, at least in the past, you know, now I still consider you it.
Thank you.
More than Zood. I will say that. You're definitely more of a pro than Zood.
Okay, if that hadn't been said, then I would have probably left the cast.
I'm hoping to consider that one. But, you know, excuse me, what do you do in this situation when you're kind of down around and you kind of need to figure out the plan? Do you need to have that one calm voice in the team to be like, guys, let's change things up?
That's a huge factor, and the most important thing on an individual level is to maintain your calm, because you see the clock ticking up, you see the percentage going away, and in your mind you're like, I have to make something happen. You just want to go and do damage, but you need somebody to stop down and say, guys, this is what's going to happen.
I feel like that's what Bus Driver's been doing. I mean, he's first playing like Faz was before from No Too Fast. If you didn't see any of the earlier games from Alliance, he's sitting back. Yeah. He's sitting back, he's relaxing. He knows his job. His job is to defend this area and that only. He's not getting too aggressive. He's not getting caught out.
And I said Syndrome's a linchpin, but he is just as important, if not more important, on defense. Because as you said, as you see here, he marks that upper ground, and anyone trying to get in is just absolutely butchered by his incredible aim and usually high stack as well.
Yeah, seems to be pretty happy to with using the LG for the most part. Does get a great kill in the rails, doing some serious work. You keep seeing them just being popped up across the map, and every time we're spectating someone, it seems they just fall down to that.
But the most difficult part of this game is definitely coordinating an attack into a set defense. And this is why I quite like Maestro's style, even though it was very all-in with the clutch, because it gave the team that knowledge and indication of what's going to happen.
We have a focus point too.
Exactly, we have this timing, we have this player who's going to coordinate our attack, and we can base every decision we make around that. Without that, you need to have significantly more discipline to make sure you coordinate some level of attack. Without that, just focal point, as you say.
It also helps, I believe, like with the shield, it buys you the freedom of not dying, but getting the information without the threat of dying, most importantly, so you can make those calls.
But on the flip side, you have to be majorly coordinated, and it's also a definite all-in play. And at the moment, Alliance are doing a really great job of making sure Defendants cannot get into this and cause chaos on this obelisk effectively.
So either Alliance are really playing up here so far in this match, or Defendants are really playing down, because I watched scrims yesterday, the Defendants versus Alliance, and they won pretty easily in quite a few different scrims. So
credit to Alliance. They're taking their positions well, and they're controlling the map. It might... I don't know what's going on with Defendants, but Alliance are definitely playing well.
This is the map, if you guys are just showing us that Defendants did choose. Either way, 88%, one round on the board already, switches to the common for some easy damage there.
And look at that. Communication, they knew exactly where Aniki was going to go, and then 2 guys to meet him. They are playing exceptionally well.
90%. This is the last chance saloon almost for Defendants. Definitely. They do have that range picked up to look for some frags. I believe it was Too Good before was playing. Actually, he was playing Nyx earlier when he did get the telefrag. Nice position out of Syndrome. He's just sitting back. He's letting his front line be the front line, and he's getting the rails.
Good game.
There you go.
Spotty's happy.
I'd be too if I were Alliance. I mean, again, you know, we have to remind you guys at home what's on the line for these two teams. This is the loser bracket side. This is a very crucial match. Where this does go to QuakeCon.
And just look at the guys who are in this tournament. These are stacked full of players that, again, would have come into this tournament thinking, I should be making this. This is where I need to be.
Look at Bus Driver, 37-31.
He played out of his mind.
Yeah, and the thing is, 37-31, but what was his role in the team? He was support. He was playing defense.
He was, just the front line, the tank to protect protect the carrier, and to get in the face of it and anyone trying to get into the obelisk. And so to come away with a positive net is quite remarkable.
So that's one thing that I really like about this game mode Sacrifice, the fact that duel can be really hard to get into if you're a newer player because you're constantly going to be smashed and destroyed, time and time again, right? There's a lot you have to
from
learn.
experience.
Yes, yes, from my experience. Don't worry, you're going to carry me later on when we do play. So it's a game that can become quite frustrating, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like in Sacrifice, it's more TDM oriented, so you can play and not necessarily rely on your individual skill of knowing the map and knowing the game mode. You can listen to your caller, you can play with your team a little bit better. It's a lot more lenient when it comes to the true Quake style of duel.
I completely agree. As a starting point, it's ideal, particularly if you come in with a sound FPS background. Look, as you mentioned, Bus Driver, he's not a substantially great jeweler. He's a good jeweler, but coming into this, he's one of the top players now. He comes in with a solid FPS background. He's got great mechanics, and in his role, in his team, he knows what he needs to do, and he's putting them to amazing effect.
So I'm curious about this with you. Obviously I cast quite a few other games, and in some of these games I do talk about the fact of if it's a team-oriented game, sometimes it's worth playing around one player. If he's that good, if he's an all-star on your team and he's a star, you can play around him and let him perform. You can support him, right?
I mean, yes.
Do you feel like in Sacrifice you can do that? And if so, do you think teams are doing that or have the potential later on to figure that out?
I definitely think it's an option, and it is done to a certain degree. The Nyx role is usually that more or less superstar of the team, the guy that roams around, does damage on his own, the guy who usually gets the power-ups. But at the end of the day, if it's not in Sacrifice, that's not going to win you games. Everyone has a very important run. We've got the Anarchy, he needs to run extremely well. We've got the Clutches, the Sorlags, we need to break that defense. And without those guys doing what they need to do well, you can't shine. And that's why we see people on the Nyx such as Too Good. In maps they win, they will be outstanding. In maps they lose, it's exceptionally difficult for them to actually have a real big impact.
It seems interesting to compare the styles between Alliance and Defendants, because it seems to me that Defendants rely on their support play as Too Good, as the Nyx.
Yes.
Whereas Alliance use Nyx to be a little more aggressive, get more information, and they rely on that Snorlax to be the anchor. Now you got me saying it, to be the anchor for the team to play support.
I didn't even realize we said it so much it's become normal.
Is that different in style, or is that difference in play,
it's
or
just
what?
very different players. Like they have, for instance, Alliance have a vet who is aggressive, get in your face, do lots of damage, and then you've got Deus who plays around what the team needs, and he will follow Rebecca around. He'll be doing some cleaning up, he'll go around the corners, and then around that, like we said at the start, Too Good is probably sitting in a corner, holding crouch with zoom on and hitting his rails. And as long as the guys in the front are doing their jobs properly, Too Good can have a free reign, he can pick people off, and then Syndrome clears that up and runs back to the base. But again, if Alliance is set up well, and Avec is getting shut down, Deus is getting shut down, the whole team then just falls apart.
So you're saying they need to create that space, that real estate for Too Good to work with.
Exactly. He needs that space to work with. Otherwise, his life is very, very difficult. He can work in it, particularly if he's able to get on the power-ups, and they just need to make it a little bit cleaner around that to make that happen. Okay,
and then looking at Defendants here and what they've been running, another big difference is BJ.
Yes. It's, again, just personal preference. They found that it's, in a different way, but similar way to the Clutch, it's just a character, a champion that has an ability to break that defense. So once that's up, they can protect him. Maybe he gets a quad. If he gets a quad and then he pops a dual wield, Jesus. I mean, like, who's stopping him?
That's 8 times damage.
Yeah, something along the lines. I don't do math. But
I'm guessing.
There's a lot of damn damage. Is all I know. Pop that and you've got trouble. Same if you've got the protection. You can just run in, pop the dual wield, and then things melt. So it's another unique moment in the match to break a defense and to turn it in your favor that you wouldn't be able to do with any other champion.
See, that's what I'm worrying, is that BJ can obviously do a lot of damage and he can call a lot of attention when he pops his dual wield, but with like a clutch. If he, for instance, let's just, imagine.
Theorycraft, let's go.
Yeah, it's Theorycraft. If he played clutch, wouldn't that alone, without having dual wield, call for a lot of attention towards him to give the freedom to Too Good?
Again, it's just another variation on the same thing.
Isn't it more so that's the thing, is it more reliable
I think
of creating space than a BJ, do you think?
I think, yes. I think in those particular moments, yes. But I think the BJ offers more outside of that because the Clutch has to spend the rest of his days collecting the time capsules.
Right.
And it's just easy cannon fodder when his shield is not up. So outside of those particular key moments in the match, the Clutch does not offer as much as a BJ would.
So going into Blood Covenant, do you think we're going to have any sort of swap-ups coming into the picks?
Quite possibly, but from what I've seen of both teams, these are the comfort picks that they like. I if I had to put any money on it, I'd say no.
Okay, see, that's actually, you know, since I mostly work with team games, I'm really interested to see how the meta like progresses. I would imagine like down the line, once teams have had the ability to focus on sacrifice more and more and more, and you get those teams that are sacrifice oriented, then you'll see people changing champions and styles depending on certain maps.
I think so. I mean, the recent patch changed it slightly. It made Slash a lot more viable, but I don't think either one of these teams has a Slash player. That would be the one I would say they probably would need. Outside of that, it might be that, for instance, you should change a Sorlag for a Scale Bearer. They fulfill a relatively similar role, and it's just you need certain roles in each position. So again, each team must have an Anarchy. Like you can't play this mode without an Anarchy. You're just going to get whitewashed.
Have you been surprised that we haven't seen like Scale Bearer at all? Because
we saw
a distinct lack of him.
We saw it once again, and it wasn't particularly effective. It's good for a few kind of niche moments where you just chuck the orb and charge through, and he's quite good on burial grounds where you just run up the ramp, maybe stealing the quad. It's just quite hard to time. And again, I just think the Sorlag offers more with the zoning out ability, slightly better movement, and he's quicker, etc. So again, at this point in time, the meta, if you want to call it that, is very set because these are the best champions that fill the best roles.
And in terms of maybe metas in this, you know, we've seen some really aggressive teams. We've seen the way that now Defendants are playing, like to create space. We see Alliance, where they have those two kind of roamers. You have Syndrome there to roam. You have Strengths there to look for some kills and opportunities. Do you think there's like some potential metas off the top of your head that haven't necessarily been tapped into, or do you think like the play styles we're seeing here now are the ones that are here to stay until there's some changes to the game, some tweaks?
Yeah, I think that's right. These are the safest ways the teams can go. Before the recent patch, we've seen a tank meta where there might be 3 tanks, for instance. And it go great. Okay. We've seen 2Z go with a full small champion meta. They've played a Nyx, Ranger, Anarchy, and Slash, just to get right in your face with all that speed and aggression to get round the outside. If they've set camp well, you can just go flying past them, and then you make them go out of position, for instance. So there are definite ways to approach it, but how much practice and how comfortable these teams are in adapting on the fly, I don't know, because 100% they've played in practices with these comps and they've won with them against their opponents. They're saying, I've won with them before, we just need to do what we're doing and make it better. And
then in power-ups, like that's been, you talked about BJ as being like a champion that can kind of break open something, break open like a fight. Well, power-ups can do the same. Obviously we have the quad and we have the protection. Do you have like a preference of what goes to where, or do you think obviously Strengths is like the focal point of the team for Alliance? He's been constantly getting the protections and quads when he can, but
it depends on what the situation of the game is. For instance, if you have the obelisk, if you don't, if you have the soul, if you don't. Again, not really. As long as you get it, the protection is generally regarded as much better than the quad. These teams, if a quad pops, it like is it protection? No, well who cares? That's pretty much the attitude. The other side of the coin is, you can go super aggressive with Anarchies with a quad because you're very difficult to hit. You can fly in and do significant amount of damage, and so it's probably better on an Anarchy. But at the same time, as we said, if you've got a Blazkowicz, then you would probably want him to have it if he's got his ultimate up. The other side of the coin is the protection. It can be used offensively or defensively depending on the situation. So if you've got the obelisk, you'd probably just want to park it in your base and just fend off everyone that comes at you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be loading into game here in just a few seconds. Had to restart the game for a couple of players. It's going to be Blood Covenant, and again, it's Alliance up against the Defendants, with Alliance currently leading 1-0 with a nice 2-0 sweep on Ruins. Going into Blood Covenant, this is their choice, Alliance.
Yeah.
You think we're going to have a 2-0? I would hate to see it, honestly. I want to see the third map, because this is such a crucial game. Winner goes to QuakeCon. There's so much on the line.
It is. I hope Defendants pull at least one map back.
Okay, well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Blood Covenant kicking off. Off the bat, Strengths, the man we're going to be tagging along with, as he does have the HMG. Waiting for that soul to initially spawn back in. But you can already see the aggression come into Defendants. And do you have a preference on Obelisk, actually, when it comes to this map?
I think it is so team dependent again. I know that it's very team dependent. That's all I can say, because I think Alliance prefer the Obelisk nearer the Mega, exactly where Avic's going now, Obelisk A. Just because you can get up on that high ground around it slightly better than you can on the other one where there's just the bridge. Whereas here, you have 3 different sides to protect them. Being on the high ground is where you want to be.
Well, it looks like they won't have a chance here, as Defendants have been able to grab that soul right away and grab A and go for that early defense. We did see them doing this earlier on too, in quite a few of their matches against 2Z. And they actually put up a decent fight on this map too, if I'm not mistaken. 2Good did a great job of defending back. But again, like we talked about, giving him space. this A obelisk gives him tons of space to work with. He only has a couple of entry points to really watch.
Exactly.
And he gets to sit really far back and hard to get to.
Exactly. He can just sit in the back there and pick people off. And as long as Deus and Avec are doing their job and getting in the right positions, his life is very easy. And you can see him do a massive amount of damage.
We also see the Scale Bearer and Bus Driver actually want to pick it up. So pretty much being what a tank player for the team, I guess we can call it. A tank specialist, is the word I was looking for.
I'm surprised he swapped out the Sorlag, but again, it is quite difficult to zone with the acid spit on this map, so that might be one of the reasons why. At the same time, again, they must have some work something up.
We already talked about, you know, the pickups for the power up with him. I think it can be very viable, you know, on this map as well. Just run straight through the pool, grab it, gets away. Nice little shot of Too Good there with the rail. Again, a rail player for the team likes to pick up this gun, back away, and use it to its distance that you have, obviously.
Exactly. 5 seconds to go for the power up. We can see Too Good stealthing, and he's in. Oh, he's the one that got the telepag.
He got a kill to Sparty, then he got gauntleted.
Again, well, that was absolutely perfect timing. Sparty flying in, a whole host of players flying in, but Too Good with the pinpoint timing. He can do math.
So he might be homeless, but he can do math.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Man of many skills.
All right, well now 3% here for Aliance today. I've been able to take the soul towards the obelisk, towards the high ground. Krista is able to do some really good work, pick up some kills to allow him to grab this back, and so far Defendants complete 180 from the match we just saw in Runes of Sarnath. They are off to a fantastic start here. Great little juggle as well.
You see the brief power of the Anarchy with the quad damage there, flying in, doing massive amount of damage. This character is just so frustratingly annoying to hit that.
So when you play, who do you play? Who's your champion of choice?
I'm a Scale Bearer, man.
I mean, you're a Scale Bearer in real life, pretty much.
Got to skip with my homies. Anything's Anarchy, basically.
Can you guess who I play?
Nyx?
Nope.
Your little weasel.
Oh no, I play Sorlag because Boo's pretty fast, pretty easy to move with, and he's really tanky, so I can make up for my mistakes.
Smart man. Think about it.
Yeah. Plus I'm really bad, so. Anyways, Sparty is able to pick up the soul, pass it over to Syndrome. He's trying to make the run, but he's unable to get the jump, but it doesn't matter. He gets the rocket to the face of Too Good.
That was a rather poor throw, but we see Defendants just position themselves very aggressively on point B just to protect the orb.
I thought Avid grabbed that and then was going to like throw it off the map potentially, or just try to zoom away with it.
Yeah, I mean, throwing off the map there would have been absolutely perfect because he would have been alone and it would reset the game.
Oh, this pressure. Look at that. So we talked about Defendants maybe not having the man advantage when they forced these fights. What they did there, they had a nice 2-on-1. And again, they've been able to get the majority of kills when it comes to attacking these points. Feels like they may have been able to change things up. Even though they did choose Runes of Sarnath, they played a lot better here on Blood Covenant.
Yeah, they do seem a lot more comfortable. They got a quick start. They picked up both of the oh, sorry, I thought that was Too Good that picked up the power-ups. They picked up the first power-up, which is very influential.
Alright, with strengths now, he has the soul and protection. And you can see the rail just helping him out. It does no damage to him. He's in the face of BJ, and I don't think he's going to care too much. This is going to be a really uneventful BJ for him. He's able to get soul back onto the obelisk and get away.
This is solid. They do have a long way to go. Only 20%. So from Defendant's point of view, the key is now not just throwing away lives because it can tick down quite quickly, but Krisa got onto the obelisk unspotted.
And he's looking to escape too, here too. He's able to get some good distance between them.
Yeah, so I mean, while you don't want to be standing on the obelisk, you do want to have eyes on the obelisk, and he just crouched behind it and was able to steal that away without anyone noticing.
And Bus Driver, again, we talked about Scale Bearer before. Doesn't have his bull rush this time. Can use, obviously, when he does drop the soul and, you know, pop it off. But 25 HP, peeks again, trying to get around the corner too. Secures that kill. He's definitely 3 good for me. That was terrible. Krista doesn't get the soul back. I'll go back to not talking.
No, this is bad because Defendants are relatively set up here, and there's not a lot of time for Alliance to come back into this now. They have one last chance. They want to try and coordinate something because just throwing away lives is not going to do much.
90%. This is pretty much the last attack here. Projection's going to be up for Krista, but he's not able to get off in time. Gets Syndrome, hits a double rail shot, picking up 2 kills. They should easily be able to grab the soul and run.
That's ideal. You had 2 champions rushing in and 1 following up, so 3 men pushing in just to clean up.
Oh my gosh, the LG damage is insane. Bus Driver does fall. Soul's picked up for Syndrome, immediately dropping it too. Krista now He's trying to get away. A great little toss off the wall to bounce back to him in the middle of an injection, but it's not going to matter. It seems like the kills happen on the way here.
Oh, and there's a flying scale bearer.
And the charge does quad damage as well.
Yeah, it does. It's a scary bull, man.
Running with the scale bearers. I would love to see a video made of that. Running with the bulls, running with the scale bearers. Or maybe have a scale bearer have like a cosmetic with horns on his head.
Yes.
Would be great.
Let's do that. Let's get Red Bull involved.
Yeah, I didn't say wings, I said horns. I don't know where Red Bull came from that one. Chris does have the quad and does have 2 kills. And does have the soul too. He's looking for an escape here. Does pick up the heavy in the meantime. Nice little steal away too.
94%. Increases stacks. He's not pushing in because, well, he is pushing in. Even though he didn't have any information of what was there, but he had enough health and armor to get it onto the point.
He has his teammates there to help him out too. It looks like Avik on the Ranger this time. He's going to clean up quite a few of these kills and able to hold on. 99%. They have to contest his last chance. Nice little kill on the Syndrome with the Dire Orb. It's not over just yet. They're still able to chime in one by one. That's going to be Strengths. The last man there is going to be finished off by Too Good. And Defendants will be able to take first round here.
And now we see when Defendants are in control, Too Good can play his game, and he was just picking people off left, right, and center.
So coming into the second round, do you think we're going to see Defendants, if they can acquire the soul, keep that same obelisk?
I think, well, looking at that, yeah, definitely prefer that because of the fact that, as we said, you have the 3 levels of high ground around it, and it makes it so difficult to penetrate.
Well, Havoc on Ranger, able to get the HMG and the rocket launcher. Again, looking for that soul to spawn in, looking for... I don't know, he's kind of off doing his own thing here. He's off looking for a solo frag, and yet he gets caught by 2 people.
It's not that fast because of the fact that, wow, that was a bull chasing an Anarchy, and he caught up with him.
Don't make the bull angry.
But this time...
Oh, I see where he got it from now. I totally got the Red Bull reference.
Slow.
Holy crap, I totally just got it. He's got horns, he's a bull.
Yes.
Just make him red, and he's a Red Bull.
Oh my God, what am I working with?
A terrible commentator, clearly. But, and a guy who's got much sleep.
Alliance this time got point A, and that's a big change because it's obviously the one Defenders used last time, the one they want. And so let's see how well Alliance can defend this point A.
At least I got it in the end, right? Does that count?
No, you're like 15 minutes past the time.
Story of my life, 15 minutes late every time. But Alliance do have the control. They do have the obelisk. And they got Syndrome here with the nail gun spamming through these doorways. Going to make it so hard, actually, for Defendants to push through.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Please stop that.
It's kind of like casting. They don't have a clutch here to actually provide the shield to give them that protection to push through, but doesn't seem like they need to. Savik and Deus able to pick up some kills and grab the soul.
39% to 0, but the soul has now been stolen by Deus, who is slowly making his way through the underpasses.
BJ's going at his own pace. You know, it doesn't have to be too fast, doesn't have to be too slow. It's however he wants to make this one work.
We can see his dual wield is on cooldown, which suggests to me he busts through that door again, using it and showing why they have selected it.
Thing is now, this obelisk with B is going to be really hard to defend, especially when they have to overextend now to
power up.
Exactly, they have to overextend to pick this one up, and you can see again, Strength's going to be waiting. But if it gets taken away from him, it looks like he had mistimed it, and whoever did pick it up, I think it was Avik, he was a little bit too low in HP, even with the help of the protection.
I'm not sure why Too Good's not there. It's just, maybe it's not a tactic that they favor, the old Nyx stealthing onto the point. Maybe his ability was on cooldown. Either way, it's a big missed opportunity because, as you can see, Strength is putting it to great use by just beating everyone up.
I have heard, I talked to Rafa before the event, just to get his thoughts on it. Yeah, no big deal, Rafa. We're just like best friends forever. He did say to me that sometimes, if you're the team who doesn't really necessarily have the control, which in this case Alliance did, you can send off your Anarchy to steal away the soul while the enemy team goes for capture. So maybe he was expecting Alliance to do that, considering they didn't have control of the soul, and he was staying back to protect it.
It's entirely team dependent. As we saw it in Not Too Fast, use Sturmy to do that every single time, irrespective of anyone was. Sturmy would be there invisible, and that for me is safer. But either way, they didn't get it, and it cost them 46%.
Yeah, quite a bit here. 30% for themselves. Looks like the soul on Too Good. Going to run this one back here. Should ideally be able to, but still got a man in front of him, a man above him. He will be able to touch it. Does still have his Ghost Walk to use if he gets in a bad situation, but still in his strengths. Looks like he's playing slots here. able to pick up those kills, and I think they've been able to hold it here now.
And they've stabilized, yeah.
You know, to me, it's weird. I wish in the kill feed I could see if Deus has killed someone with dual wield, because I see his name keep popping up, you know, time and time again.
That's
but
right.
I want to know how impactful the dual wield has been for him.
I like that idea.
Like, obviously, you know, with telefrags, you can see it with Diorb, you can see it with the Ghost Swap.
Yeah.
Or the Acid Spit, you can see it on the kill feed. But I want to know, like, because we're not really, you know, spectating too much, but I want to know what he's actually doing for the team.
I like it. 0-4, are you listening? This ad.
He's probably asleep for my casting. After the last cast I did with Zoo, I walked out, he's agreeing with me, he was asleep.
Quads up. And Strengths commit suicide. I don't know how much I agree with the manual. I don't want to get into a debate, but with
You want to kill yourself with a
manual,
rocket, you mean?
he didn't have a rocket, that was my
Oh.
point. So he wasn't able to. So I don't know how much that is an intended feature. Either way, he wanted to pass it on to
Oh my
Sparties.
60s. Ridiculous. Sparty's doing some
Oh
good
no,
work.
they
Throw
messed up the
doesn't land.
throw. That could be huge. Because it's still back at the original obelisk.
You can see Defendants don't realize that, though. But either way, they're actually going to collapse around A if they possibly can. Oh, nice little rocket jump. Does get the soul there. Does get percent. The LG is going to be coming through, and it looks like Avic won't be able to have the damage done.
Yeah, it didn't matter too much because Aliance did a great job of clearing everyone off the map, so he did have time to get out and get back. Whoa, look at them coming in pairs. That's what you want to see when you are attacking a coordinated attack with multiple people.
You know, I know it's like it's going to be a common thing for like most, you know, higher level players and FPS players, but I like the way that we are seeing the nail gun being used in terms of he's not shooting too high, he's not shooting too low, he's shooting at body height, at body width height,
Yeah.
like shoulder height to make sure.
Aiming.
Yeah, just to make sure that he can hit as many targets as possible.
I'm glad you
You know, for the noobs out
finally
there.
learned the concept of how to aim.
I play with the controller. Isn't that how everyone does?
You completed lethal.
Yeah. No. I think I'd be better at lethal than in this game.
Either way, 20% to go, and now Defendants, even though it's on their not preferred point, again they stabilized.
They have, and I mean, honestly, that we need to see Alliance maybe turn things around. They got two frags, that should be enough for them to push back in.
Yeah,
Ideally, but the thing
saw-
is, Defendants have the respawns to get there in time to stop it from actually capping.
We just saw a nice attack there. 3 went bridge from Alliance, and I believe it was the Anarchy that went in from behind. It's extremely difficult to attack that if you're all there at the same time.
Oh, they didn't actually even steal it away. They've been able to maintain it here,
no, I thought
95%.
they did.
This is the last chance. They have to do something about actually contesting this at the same time.
Double
Too
kill
good
by
gets it.
Too Good. That has to be, yeah, round and game.
All right, so it looks like we will see that third map here, Defendants, on the map of not their choosing.
I'm not
Did too
entirely sure what happened because I was almost positive they had stabilized, not stabilized, but had a successful attack and taken the obelisk, taken the soul away. Apparently not. Didn't see what happened. Interesting game, but Defendants looked solid on that map. Really, really good play.
So I'm not so sure if I agree with the scale bear for Bus Driver, because that was his lowest for a game yet. Typically, he was like at higher ends of the scoreboard.
Again, I'm not a big fan of it. We saw him use the bull rush through the power-up number of times. He mistimed it once, but they also had Strengths doing his invis to get it as well. So it was, from my opinion, quite overkill if that was the actual intent. To have 2 people using abilities for a power-up is just not worth it. And outside of that, as you say, it wasn't really effective. We didn't see it used at all, really, apart from trying to get a power-up. So I definitely feel, again, the Sorlag would have been a much more viable
Maybe even
pick.
clutch. Do you think?
I
shield?
don't think they would have worked on that tactic, and from speaking to them, I think they feel it's quite weak.
Okay. I mean, also, you know,
I
going up
think
against BJ with double LGs is a little rough.
There is that. I mean, you just don't miss the fridge man.
We'll be loading onto our third map, Blockbox. Any thoughts coming into that for these two teams? Alliance did lose on it earlier on.
Aliance did lose on it, and I said earlier I prefer the way in which Defendants play when they get set up, and Lockbox is a map which is great for that. You can secure the rooms extremely well, either one of the obelisks, and that will, from my mind, favour Defendants. But at the same time, Ruins is difficult to secure, and we saw Alliance do it amazingly well, particularly with the Sorlag, and Sorlag is great on Lockbox. It really is great. You can zone out in so many areas with the acid spits, tight corridors. So,
And you're also immune to the acid that's around the map, too.
so I'm going to say probably 2-1 to Defendants.
See, I'm going to go the other way, because we've seen Alliance play Sorlag quite a bit for Bus Driver, but we haven't seen Defendants play it at all. which you in the current way they're playing with Too Good playing support, he would have to be the one to pick it up, right? Or if not,
No,
who
it wouldn't
would
be Too
secure
Good.
it?
Too Good will play next no matter what. It would be Avec or Deus, and I'd probably say it would be Deus.
I'm not sure. Did we? I'm not. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if Deus did play it earlier on.
I'm pretty
in any other
sure.
matches.
I'm pretty sure you're completely right, and he hasn't. But again, it's not mandatory to win.
Right. Yeah. No. You're right.
We've seen 2Z win without a Sorlag.
You're right.
It allows them to go more aggressive. It allows Avec and Deus to go in at full frontal speed together and really just destroy what's in front of them. Whereas a Sorlag, although it's quick, it takes more time to build up a stack. It's a little bit slower behind the team. So it's, again, different playstyles. There is the beautiful creature.
She is hot.
Yeah, she's not bad.
You know,
I believe we're just having a few restarts. Is that
couple
right?
drinks in me. No, I don't know. I believe we should be loading in momentarily.
Awesome.
They're just talking some stuff. Over. We should be definitely hopping in shortly. But I'm curious in terms of like the potential way to play Sacrifice. Deus and Avec.
Mm-hmm.
Do they? Well, obviously Deus won't because he's playing BJ. But I'm imagining, do they want to push in together? Like, do they want to be like a two-man, not Suicide Squad, but two-man squad that push through and kill people, or do they like to split off? Because I haven't seen them actually attacking like targets necessarily together.
I mean, Avac's always going to be the one to try and go in first. Deus plays a bit more of a strategical passive game, but it's their role to almost roam around together with the Anarchy and create a bit of havoc, get Alliance out of their positions, out of their comfort zones, and then it should be Too Good following in to do the finishing blows, and that's why we see such high damage coming out of Too Good, because he's, again, left untouched. It's these guys that need, their main job is stay alive and deal damage, but priority one is stay alive and get Alliance and whoever you're coming up against out of position, and then hopefully Too Good can do the damage that will finally finish them off. So yeah, I mean, it's their job to go together, but if they have to be able to survive, they have to do that.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we had like a nice little talk. With Deus coming into the team, he's like basically told, "Yeah, you just frag." No, that was Cypher coming to the team. Cypher, you just frag, and we'll do everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
And Deus has to fill that kind of role for the team. I think he's been doing a pretty good job of it, but
I mean, like I think I mentioned it on the panel earlier, he's been an upgrade from everyone we spoke to. They look a lot more coordinated. He's brought a lot more experience to the team, and he plays his role more effectively.
All right, well, here we go. Kicking things off on the last map. It's Lockbox, currently tied at 1 apiece here between these two teams. Winner goes to QuakeCon, loser doesn't. Well, at least if you're on the side of Alliance, you still will with your strengths. Guard 15 seconds in, and we're going to see that soul spawn here in just a few seconds. Already, the red side defense have been waiting for this. Looks like Too Good wants to go for it. He gets the kill on strengths with the telefrag. Maybe he timed it a little bit better than he did.
And Krisa flies away with the soul.
For Defendants, with the A Obelisk, already have 5% built up.
Again,
there's a lot of high ground you can defend from here,
that's
too.
exactly what I was about to say. You could see the high ground in a very similar but more enclosed way to the Blood Covenant Obelisk. It just allows you to defend so easily because you have to get on that point to take the soul, and then there's going to be people from above raining down on you. So this is why you need to go in a pair.
Chris is doing some good work here. The nail gun being used as well as the LG. Picks himself up, I think, 3 kills in that attack.
And as you can see around the map, if you don't know it, you can see all of these tight corridors are easy to shut down. Lots of nail gun spam, rocket spam, lightning gun spam. You're almost certainly able to do a significant amount of damage to any of the attackers.
You think that, but when I try it, I seem to miss my shots.
Because you're using a pad.
Hey, didn't 04 start with a gamepad originally in Quake?
A ball mouse.
Yeah. No, you use actual like Joy-Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he learned one day that you can use mouse.
04.
Hey, he's our boss now. So.
I know, I've lost.
You're very handsome, 04. Yeah, so Defense have 40% built up off the back of like basically that first engagement. Finance have been able to grab it and turn it around, but with 20 seconds left on the power-up, we could see Defendants picking up another 20-30% if they're able to capitalize off of this.
Yeah, 40% is quite a big chunk to take for the first minute, because after that first soul spawn, they just got perfectly set up and was able to defend it extremely well. And now it does seem that Alliance haven't been set up as effectively quite yet.
See Too Good, he backed away because of the assets bit coming through, but you can't pick up the soul when you do that.
Bus Driver's back on his Sorlag if we hadn't noticed, which I'm happy with.
He's just sitting on high ground, picks up these health orbs, picks up some armor every once in a while, playing very passive, but
we see here
he's
the different playstyles. When we saw Not Too Fast earlier, it was the Sorlag standing in mid on Faz, standing in the doorways. Whereas, obviously for Alliance, he's sitting right at the back to, if anyone comes in, I'm going to jump on you.
Yeah, that's always really hard to fight from the low ground, but Sparty, even though they do not have their 4th ban there for Alliance, are able to take the power up. It's going to be protection,
Yeah,
and it's already faded away.
it's been hit or miss how Defendants have played around the power-ups, and it has cost them from time to time.
At 47%, we talked about, first caps. It's been 40 for Defendants,
Yeah.
but 50 now for Alliance, and they're showing no signs of stopping. Defendants have to come in, but they just keep losing man by man. They keep going in with a man disadvantage, but finally Avic's able to turn things around with the nail gun from the sky. 55% is what Alliance is going to get, over halfway there. I like this nice little throw. This little relay race coming through at Defendants.
Yeah, I said that Alliance earlier looked a bit scranky, but on Ruins, obviously, they were extremely strong when set up, and it seems that they've brought that back into this map.
Ghostwalk going to be coming in out of strengths. Looks like he will live for now, and then should be taken down by the Gauntlet. And now Krista, yeah, I mean, we talked about Too Good, right? He's a support player for the team, but we don't really see him playing from high ground much. Actually, I haven't seen him playing really defensive at all so far. He's more of like an aggressive support, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves to get out and do damage, and so he will be probably sitting in the mid because we haven't seen much of him so far on the defense.
And Bus Driver is very disciplined.
Bus
As a player,
Driver
I'd
is
say.
extremely disciplined. He's probably the player I've been most impressed with coming out of Alliance.
Deus, Avic both going down.
Is your nail gun that you love so much?
It is an amazing gun. It does so much damage. It's insane, especially if you can just spam down a corridor.
But 70% now, and I think definitely the power-up is, particularly now it's Battlesuit Protection, should I say, that this is the key for Defendants to unlock the Obelisk.
So they get the power up and they get the soul at the same time. Krista, can he get it across the map? No, Syndrome's going to be there to shut him down, but accidentally suicides. Too Good gets the soul, throws it away to a teammate so they can run this one back. It's still going to be very difficult because Bus Driver, he's going to be there again, transitioning himself from defense to attack when they realized they lost the soul, and he was there waiting to stop them. But in the meantime, Defendants now finally building a percent from 49 up to 55. They can't really afford to let the soul go too much more.
And we see the importance of the power-up, not in its actual use, but just in its existence. And the reason I say that is because Alliance was so concerned in trying to secure the power-up because they knew how important it was for Defendants. They left their base unchecked. And that's when the Anarchy went in and snuck the soul away while everyone else was fighting with the power-up.
And then you would assume if you're going to do that, you have 4 men there at the power-up, you better sure as hell capture it, right?
Exactly.
Not let that go.
Yeah, this power-up is a death trap, and Alliance just failed to do it properly.
The damage being done by Too Good yet again.
Nice.
He's actually going to suicide.
Somehow.
Yeah, oh, you can do damage to yourself with the nail gun.
Yeah,
That's how
but
you do
he
nail
must
jump.
he must have been like 40 health, so
Yeah.
quite unlucky.
Alliance are still attacking away though. 86% now for Defendants. It feels like just a minute ago they're at 49. And we're still seeing Sparty and Co trying to retake this point back. And they already lost Bus Driver, and Darub's going to come through. He's not going to get the kill. Chris is eventually going to suicide, but they're defending it.
This is where you see Too Good's defensive tactic. He was just sitting in that back alley, the same way we saw Noctis do earlier, doing incredible damage.
Ooh, nice little, again, relay race with the soul. Able to turn around, pick up those kills. Too Good does take it back.
Waiting for the Mega.
He's got 98% on the board already here.
Nice rocket.
I like how he's not just trying to rush it in. They're looking for damage, looking for kills before they do this, because if they do get any sort of kills, any sort of man advantage, and they secure the soul, it's going to be so hard to retake it, and they're doing just that. There we go.
Perfect.
Defendants
Yep.
now going to be up 1-0 here on our final map.
That was incredibly close, actually. It was back and forth, and every time each team took control of the soul, took control of their relative obelisk, they were able to set up, and that's why we saw such dramatic swings in the game from one high percentage to another, because they secured it extremely well.
Would you say from personal experience that maybe Lockbox is one of those maps that you can do that on? Or do you feel like every map you can is just a lot easier to here?
I think every map you can if you play well, but this map is definitely a lot easier to do that on for
Do
sure.
you think they got the obelisk down on lock?
Yes. I'm sure they did.
I should just
I'm not rising.
my life. Too Good does pick up the soul, does use the Goat's Walk to secure it and throw it away. Sparty's able to pick it up, but Avic's there to clean up some kills from behind with the rockets.
And here comes the flying lizard.
Not saying it again. I'm not doing it again. I give you a shout out once. He's been able to secure it again.
It seems he plays, as we said, a very similar role to Too Good, sitting behind, again, when you're in that role, you're firstly protecting the back channels, but you can't be really touched by anyone else except the guys coming through that corridor.
The thing is, like, I'm assuming if you're playing Nyx here, you're depending on these rail shots to hit because you can't fight up close. Whereas if you're playing Sorlag and you're Bus Driver here, you want to fight up close. Your Acid Spit works in that situation. You're playing with rockets, so you don't have to rely on the rail in the long distance. He wants to fight you up close.
He really does. And that's the problem with the Nyx on this map. You have to be a skillful player because there isn't much room to use that rail, so you have to get in with a much smaller stack than other opponents.
right there.
Outskill them. Yeah.
Well, that's still 36% built up for Alliance, though. It's still being contested. Looks like the Soul was taken away for a second, but returned right after. And Alliance, they're coming back strong here. 40% in the first minute and a half.
And now they will have secured. 25 seconds is quite a long time, but that does seem like the next big opportunity to try and steal away the Soul. And that's when the power-up is up.
So if you're Defendants here, you kind of maybe, do you hope that it's going to be quad and not protection, you run for the Soul, or do you try to contest both, or just the power-up?
Power-up's going to be up as it goes past, so it might be that they wait for it, or at least have one person waiting for it where everyone else chases the Soul, and it will be Anakin, and it's a quad.
It's a quad, and it's picked up here by Syndrome.
But the key point is Defendant has the Obelisk, and it is a quad, it is not protection.
And he easily can be railable too, just do a little bit of chip damage
But
to him.
Anakin has it, and you can see
smart.
there his team strength that was reserving the armor for him, so he can push it now.
Oh, he's trying. He's only at 56 HP though. Quad's still going to be there, but he can still drop immediately fast. Krisa going to go down. Syndrome is not able to do a lot of damage, but again, even if he's not getting kills and not doing damage, the attention that's called to him is very important. It allows the rest of his teammates to push in a little bit more free.
And we saw the patience coming out from all of Alliance there. They were all just huddled around the entrance and waiting for the quad to make the first move. But at the same time, Defendants were set up extremely well, which is why it was a difficult attack.
And now Sparty does get railed from behind, does throw it off, does get railed again. Deus coming up big here with the BJ. Deus is actually no, he's playing the BJ still. Gets Soul, throws it away. And he's going to give it over to his teammate Krisa, who's going to go for the return. 52 to 20%.
The free Obelisk, which means they can now get set up.
Well, they could try, but you can see already knocking on the door. It's going to be Alliance looking to push this one back in. Tuga's not able to get set up with his rails, not able to do that long-range damage that they might need onto this point. Chris is trying to get in the face of Nyx, but Strunks gets the kill, and just like that, the door has been kicked down, and Alliance do secure the Soul.
All Defendants dead. All that means is there is a good chance they might spawn on the other side of the map, which allows them to get set up for the defense. This is why they're all rushing in now, and there's that dual build you want to see.
And it's doing some
So that
really
was the
good
one
damage.
problem in doing such a good job in killing everyone, is that now they all spawn on the other side of the map where they need to be to get their soul
did your
back.
job too good.
Yeah,
Hey.
exactly. You're pulling them all out the stops today.
I got to. It's my last cast ever. Any game. I'm getting fired after this one, boys. 41%.
Feels bad, man. 3 seconds till the power up.
Strikes again, waiting on top of it.
And it's this time protection, and Defendants are not there. And as we said earlier, they have been a little bit sloppy on trying to get those power-ups.
I don't see them having any chance of killing Syndrome here. It's going to be so hard with protection, and the Soul now is picking up health orbs on the way. Of course, I have to almost give this one up at this rate. Look for kills on the rest of his teammates, and then try to keep a man advantage going into this protection, finishing off.
It's a good point, and that's exactly what they need to do. Clean up the team, try and almost wait for it to tick down and steal the Soul back, which is more or less what they've done by the looks of it.
59% though. Protection is now gone. Defendants have been able to clean up Bus Driver again. Deus coming from the high ground with the BJ. Get some decent damage. Syndrome has 14 health. He picks up a kill.
Dead?
He's still alive. Finally will fall to Deus with the LG. But he's bought so much time for Alliance to hold this one off. Sparty comes back in.
Cleans up.
Just as we say that though, Krisa does secure the kill onto him, and Bus Driver is there to protect as well. Using that HP to his advantage, but Tuga is able to sneak this one away just barely.
So incredibly close.
Yeah, very close. 72 to 51. This is the last map of the series. Defendants are up 1 in the round. 10 HP left for Tuga, who will fall.
3 guys blocking the exit. This is just the importance of just having a well-communicated team, so they all know where they need to be at all times.
Right. It's just a bloodbath here. Finally, it looks like Avik might be the one to return
But
it.
again,
But you
there's
see a
a
man in
big
front of him
scary
again.
lizard with a pummel.
Oh god,
And
and Avik.
runs over him.
Not too good. Gets the return though. Does use the Ghost Walk to buy a little bit of time.
I thought he wanted to go for the teleferic, but just instead double rocket.
Oh no, they actually run directly past him here. He's gonna fall, doing the splits as he goes down. His teammates are going to be there, but Avic only able to get one of those kills. Tuka gets the respawn back in, but he needs to quickly hurry up to his team. He uses the rocket jump to get back up there. The soul still has not been taken, but he does get strikes down. He's looking for Bus Driver. He does have the soul, gets thrown to him. He's looking for his teammate just in time. Perfect play to Too Good. Krista gets the recap. 70% now for them. We're at a tied percent here.
This is getting stressful. 2 seconds, and Defendants are not there again. They're late.
It's a quad, though.
It is a quad, but it's still an opportunity missed. Because this quad is on an Anarchy, which is, again, like we said earlier, perhaps the best champion to have it on, particularly if you're on the offense.
I was going to say, he hasn't done anything with it, but does get a nice little kill onto Deus. They still have not been able to take the soul away. 86%. They got to make their move now. He doesn't have armor, but he has the damage. He's looking for the soul. He gets a kill to Krissa, and they've been able to open up this obelisk.
That rocket was so vital from Krissa. Just took him down to 1 HP.
Bus Driver now, he's the one to look at. He's got the soul. He's looking for kills. He's doing it all for his team.
Yeah.
But look at this. This is what I love about it. He's playing it slow for his team because they know the respawns are going to be an advantage of the Defendants.
Look at them.
He's not rushing it down.
Pair. This is just the nice, simple way you need to play. If he went off on another way, he might be dead by now. So
See the pressure they're under too, because if they lose this, they're out completely, and he's going to lose his teammate. He throws the soul away before he does drop. It's a 3-man squad. It's a 3-man kill squad.
Both of these teams now have their coordination down. It's impressive to see.
He gets the soul thrown off. Chris is going to be the one to pick it up. He is taken away in damage. He's going to get the return, though.
3.
And Too Good come up big. Bus Driver's going to get that kill. He gets a second onto Avic. Too Good gets himself a double kill. That might have been enough to hold them off. The percent's at 98. Is anyone going to contest it? Finally, someone's going to be on there. They throw the soul away, but Deus grabs it midair, throws it back to Too Good. It's back on the point. Aliance will try to rush back in with 3 people. They might have been able to do it. Can anyone finally stop this? Chris is going to fall. It looks like Sparty with the soul will be able to get the retreat. A little bit of live to fight on longer.
Syndrome smacks his own player. Luckily, there's no team damage, but that could not have been closer.
Oh, it might not be over, though. You can see him throwing it away. Deus just comes in with the gauntlet to pick up the kill. Bus Driver now the one with the soul in hand, but he's got Too Good there who picks up the kill, who grabs the soul. He's trying to run it back towards me. He doesn't have a lot of health, though, to get back up there. Does he get the throw? No! He does. It looks like his teammate Krista picked it up, and Krista does have it. He does get back on the high ground. He gets the injection. He's looking for Bus Driver. He gets the knockback, not the kill, though. So intense here between these two teams, and it keeps being traded back and forth. Now Sparty the one to have it in his hands. There's no way. He's not going to get it back. This is going to be, again, Krista comes in. He gets the kill. He's on the Anarchy. He's running it back.
I think. Oh, no, there's 3
there. They got the defense.
He turns around.
He's looking for maybe Mega. No, it's not even up just yet. He's looking for some sort of HP. He's hoping his teammates here are going to pick up these kills he needs to get the return. I love how he slowed this down, considering how intense this game has been.
Battle suit up for Alliance. This map is not over. And they've got control of where Greaser needs to go.
That's 1 kill. If Alliance lose too many more people with the respawns and how they're going to work.
I think they have to wait out this battle suit. There's no way they can challenge without it.
Should be gone now. Chris is coming in from the high ground.
Has he got the word that it's safe? Because it doesn't look like it looks safe to me.
It's not safe, but they do have the people there. They do pick up the kill. Deus secures 1. Sparty, I think he hasn't followed just yet. Deus picks himself up a double. He gets a triple. He gets the last kill, and Deus, the newest addition to the team, filling in for Cypher, has got the Defendants into the QuakeCon.
That was incredible. Look how happy they are. I mean, Avic's already going to QuakeCon, and you can see the ecstatic nature of how he... that's a great sight.
Deus coming up huge at the end. Again, the newest addition, filling in for Cypher here, being the fragger for the team. At the end with BJ, got a quad kill to lock that one down.
And the play at the end, the presence of the mind, you're on 99%. You are 1% away from going to QuakeCon. And you have the presence of mind to wait until the battle suit is played out, get your team reorganized, win back your base, win back your obelisk, and then cap it. I mean, that was like a full 40 seconds, minute that he was just waiting to win the game.
You have to imagine the adrenaline too. I mean, you've been a pro player. You still technically are in my eyes.
Thank you.
The pressure, the adrenaline, your hands shaking, knowing like you wanted to rush that back in, you wanted to win it for your team, the glory.
No better player than really Chris or Deus to do that. I mean, both probably the most experienced team players on the Defendants, and both coming out with huge plays at the end to win that game.
But let's give a shout out to the side of Alliance as well. They played fantastic. We saw, like for instance, Bus Driver, a guy that's been relatively unheard of until these games have been played, having amazing games, really proving his worth here in Sacrifice when it comes to Quake Champions. Syndrome as well. We've had some great Anarchy play out of him. Strengths on top of that. Like every individual player on that team, and I have to also give credit to Sparty, has some fantastic telefrags, has performed.
Yeah, I went into this game almost convinced it was going to be a Defendants win, if not a 2-0. And Alliance definitely proved me wrong. It was, I mean, as we just saw, as you just witnessed, it was not going to be any closer than that.
Yeah, fantastic game from both these two teams. Again, Defendants, congrats on getting to QuakeCon. In the meantime, guys, let's head to the analysis desk to break down that exciting match.